morning, everyone. So, yesterday we have discussed how to create an EC2 instance, right? How to log in AWS account and how to select a region and how can we create an EC2 instance. And I have asked you to terminate the EC2 instance once you create the EC2 instance. Okay. Could you please tell me the overall steps how we can create a quick recap? The first name is the first step is to select which service that we need to select. If you want to create a server, a VM, EC2. The service name is
EC2.
EC2. You need to select the service name EC2. EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. Okay. The first step is to select the name or give the name. The second step is to select AMI. AMI stands for Amazon Machine Image, nothing but an operating system. What is the operating system that we have selected?
Linux.
Amazon Linux 2. Amazon Linux
Right.
2, which is a family of Red Hat family. Next step, key pair. What is the use of this key pair? If you want to log into EC2 instance, you can log in using this key pair. The next step is instance type, where we can select CPU and RAM capacity, right? The next step is to select security groups. I'll say network config, where we can give the security rules, right? And next step, hard disk, which is called as EBS, Elastic Block Storage in AWS Cloud. And then finally we click on launch the EC2 instance. Yes. Um, so by default, if you want to log in to connect, if you want to log in any Linux server remotely, or if you want to log in any remote Linux server, what service should be up and running in that remote server? What is the service name? Yesterday I have discussed, right? So this is a server on cloud, a Linux server, and how you can provide the capability SSH, right? So SSH is the service name which should be there up and running. So by default, this SSH would be there. Okay, if it is a physical server, we need to manually install. Okay, how we can install, we'll see in the coming days. Now, yeah, where we are? We are at our home network, right? Sitting before our laptop or desktop. Okay, and this is a machine of what? A Windows machine. Okay. Now by default, AWS Linux instances will not support username with password kind of authentication. It supports username with key authentication. That will be a private key authentication. Okay. Now, if you want to connect a Linux machine from Windows, well, let's quickly go ahead and create an EC2 instance. Yesterday I have created and terminated it, right? Okay. Let's quickly see the steps. Okay. No running instances. Now we need to click on launch instance. Okay. Pradeep, you better go with Ohio or California. Don't use North Virginia. Okay. Because I am using it for you
Okay,
in your
sir.
account. Yeah. And the web server name, we have given a name as demo server. You can give anything, whatever comes into your mind, or some meaningful name. And Amazon Linux 2 is the AMI, which is available for free tier. You can select it happily. Okay, instance type t2.micro, only one instance is available, which is having 1 CPU and 1 GB of RAM. You can see it here. Okay, and key pair. Yesterday I have created a key pair. Again, if you want to create, you can create it. Okay, now there are two types, there are two extensions for the key pair. One is .pem, second one is .ppk. Okay, if you are having a Windows machine, we need to download .ppk file. Very good. If you have Linux machine, Linux desktop, then PEM. Very good. Okay. Now I am selecting the same key. I don't want to create a key. Already key is there. Happy. So by default, port number allow SSH traffic from anywhere. That's fine. 8 GB will be fine. Click on launch instance. So it received the steps. Click on view all instances. Now let's wait until it is running. Okay. Hmm. Now, if you are having a Linux machine instead of Windows, if you have the same Linux machine, if you're having a Linux desktop, okay, directly with SSH you can connect. Okay, I'll tell you that also. Okay, but if you have a Windows machine, both are different, right? Windows is different, Linux is different. Okay, suppose one Telugu guy wants to talk to a Kerala guy, a Malayalam guy. Then how can we talk? How can we communicate? Okay, you know only this two language, you know only this language. Or else one English guy wants to communicate with a Chinese guy. Then there should be an interpreter, right? Some person comes to India, they don't understand their languages. There will be one interpreter in between both of them. So whatever he says, he'll understand, he will deliver that to the other person in their language. And from there, he will receive the response, the same thing he will convert and tell to this person. Yes or no? Some interpreter is required. Some mediator interpreter, I think is called. Okay. The same way, Linux language is different from Windows language. Okay. Directly, both cannot talk. We should require an interpreter in between both Windows and Linux. That interpreter here we call it as putty. Okay, which is nothing but SSH client for Windows. SSH client. Why we require? In order to connect to the server via SSH. Okay, so on Windows, what we need to have? We need to install putty. Okay, now through putty, we can connect to the Linux machine which is there on AWS cloud. That too via internet. Okay, this connection happens over the internet. Clear? So first we need to download and install putty. How to install putty? On Windows it is very easy, right? Go to putty.org. It is the official website to get putty. You have to install in your Windows machine. Okay. First let me check whether I'm having putty or not in my machine. Okay, let's see. Putty. Yes, putty is there. Okay. I'll just show you how you can download and install it. What happened? Or else let me okay. Putty download for Windows. Okay, putty.org, but it's not getting open. Let's see a free SSH client for Windows. I think the connection is little slow. Let's wait. The site itself is down. Huh? Okay, the site is down, but let's see. Let's try from another machine. Okay, now here, this is how it looks like. Okay, now go with 64-bit 86 putty MSI Microsoft installer. Okay, just click on that. Okay, nowadays all the laptops are 64-bit only. You can select 64-bit 86. So once it is downloaded, you know how to install, right? On Windows, it's very easy, no? Okay, just you need to double click it. Just you need to select next, and then finish. Install and then finish. I am already having putty, that's why I'm not downloading it. Okay, this is how you can install. Okay, if this putty.org does not work, just go for download putty. Go for the second option here. You find this one, 64-bit. Okay, download it and install. It's a mandatory. Once you download putty, now open putty. So this is how it looks like. Very simple. Okay, on top of black screen. Okay, this is how it looks like. Is my voice clear? Right. Okay. Now, so just now we have launched one EC2 instance, right? Let me check whether it is running. Yes, it is running. Okay. Now I want to connect to this server. Okay. Now, if I want to communicate with you, okay, how can I communicate? With your name, right? If I want to call Ravi, I'll just call as Ravi, so that we can communicate, right? Likewise, if you want to connect to a server, okay, each and every machine will be having an IP address. Machines will be communicated via IP addresses. Okay, how human beings are having names, likewise, machines will be having IP addresses. Okay, now if you want to connect, we should have an IP address. Okay, put this in your mind. If you want to connect to a server, you should know the IP address. Then only we can connect. Okay, now how to get the IP address? Just click on the server which you have launched, select it. Okay, you will see the options here. Okay, just scroll up a little bit up. Not this one. Yeah. Okay, see, instance summary is giving so many details about that particular server. Okay, but in which field that we are interested, we need to get the IP addresses, right? And look at here. It is having public IP4 address, private IP4 address. Now we have got two IP addresses, two different IP addresses. Okay. Now which IP address that we need to use? This is a big question. Okay. I want to connect with the IP address, but it is having two IP addresses. You can see. Can you see that? Public and private. Some two different numbers. Now through which IP address I can connect? That is what we need to decide. Okay. Any wild guesses which IP address that we need to use?
For public.
Okay. Okay. Right. Okay. I'll tell you a small scenario over here. Okay. So if you want to connect to a machine from another machine, if these two machines are in the same network, if both machines are in the same network, we will use private IP address to communicate. Okay. If the both machines are in two different networks, we will use public IP address to communicate. Put this fundamental in your brain. This is fundamental thing. Okay. If both machines are in same network, we'll use private IP address. If both machines are in two different networks, public IP address. As a simple example, I say, okay, imagine your family as the same network. You and your daddy belongs to the same network, or mother or brother. Okay, in your home, you might be having a nickname, Chinnu, Bablu, Bunty. Yes, sir, no? So in your home, your people will be calling us your name, Bunty, Bannu, right? That is a private. If you go to college or school, did your teacher call with your, is that name? Chinni? No, no. They will be calling with your original certificate name. That is called public name. Got the point? So now in this case, my server is on AWS cloud network. Okay, and I am sitting in my home, and this is my home network. Okay, now which IP address that I should use? Private. Why? This is AWS cloud network. Somewhere the network is different. This is my laptop and my network. This is different network. Both are in two different networks. Yes, we should use public IP address. Okay, I'm having one more server. Imagine I'm having one more server here, another Linux server. Now, from this server to this server, if I want to connect, then which IP address that I can use? I'm having one more server here in this AWS cloud network. Okay, from this server to this server, if I want to connect, which IP address that I can use? In this case, both are in same network. Replica. Same network. If both machines are in same network, we can use private IP address to connect. Okay, not we can use, we should use. Okay, if both machines are in two different networks, we should use public IP address to connect. Okay, now one machine is in my home network, my Windows is in my home network, and I'm having a server which is in AWS cloud network. Now, public IP address I should use. Okay, if both machines are in the same network, then private IP address. Okay, now let's go ahead and take the public IP address 3.90.56.95. Okay, now, as I said, if you want to log in to any Linux machine, if you want to log in to any Linux machine, you should have your user account. Is that right? You should have your user account. Then only we can log in. So if we did not create any user account in this EC2 instance, right? It is a new server. So by default, he will be providing one user account. The user account name is EC2-user. Okay, and the password, it will not allow password authentication. We have the key with us. Now we should connect with that key. Let's see that. Just open putty and paste the IP address here. Okay, on left hand side, expand SSH. Okay, now expand this auth. Click on credentials and browse the key. Where is that key? It will be in downloads. This is the key. Open and click on open. I'll show you again. Remember this. Okay. Now open putty. Now go to your instance. Select the instance. Look at the options. Go. Take the public IP address. Paste the public IP address here and expand SSH. SSH పక్కన plus symbol ఉంది కదా, just click on the plus symbol, auth, under authentication auth. Again click on plus symbol, select credentials, go with the first option, private key file for authentication. I said right, username with private key. Browse, go to downloads and select the key which you have downloaded already while creating the EC2 instance. Open it, click on open. Okay, accept. Okay, if it comes okay, okay, accept it. Login as. Can you see my screen? I'll just try to There is that. Appearance. It is a font size. Here I guess. Font. Can you see my screen? Yes. Now it is asking what? Login as. What is the username? EC2 hyphen user. This is what the username. Okay. Already we have provided the private key information. If you press enter, done. Successfully, you have logged into the EC2 instance or the server which you have created. Okay. Then now whatever you want, you can do with this server. Currently, we don't know anything. That's why just created and connected. Okay. I'll show you once again. Hmm? Okay. Now you guide me. Which IP address that I need to take? Public. Why public? Both
We are in the
are
same
in
network.
two different networks. Now launch putty. Enter the IP address. Now SR కాదు SSH సన్ రైజర్స్ హైదరాబాద్ కాదు ఎక్స్పాండ్ దిస్ SSH ప్లస్ సింబల్ ఉంది కదా కనిపిస్తుందా జస్ట్ క్లిక్ ఆన్ ద ప్లస్ సింబల్ and then authentication AUTH click on plus symbol which I need to select credentials private key browse okay go to downloads it will be there your server key file click on open okay now it will not ask anything already you selected right already put accept previously what is the username ec2 hyphen user and then press enter done okay you should get this okay while logging in okay if you don't get this screen like this okay again I will just try to connect and see plus ssh plus auth credentials browse and key open click on open okay it will be like that okay you don't get this login as if you get login as which means you have created the server properly okay if you don't get this login as okay if you get some error which means you have done some mistake in creating the server itself clear if you configure all the steps which we have written here all the step properly then only you will get that screen login as otherwise you cannot get the screen which indicates that you have done some mistake in launching the instance okay as simple as that okay if you get stuck just go through the video I hope you are getting the videos right just go through the video follow step by step how I am doing done. Now we have launched the server. We have connected the server. But what to do with that server? It is a Linux server, right? If you know something about Linux, then we can work with Linux. Okay. Now let's talk about Linux for a while. Okay. As I said, Linux is having two families, Red Hat and Debian. Right. What is Linux? Linux is nothing but an operating system. Okay. Now, when you install a Linux operating system on any hardware, what happens exactly? Which we need to understand. Okay. Linux operating system ఒక హార్డ్వేర్ మీద ఇన్స్టాల్ చేస్తున్నాం కదా ఓకే ఇఫ్ యూ హ్యావ్ హార్డ్వేర్ on that hardware if you install Linux operating system now we'll try to understand what exactly happened internally okay when you install a server operating system that too Linux server operating system we have selected now we want image on Linux AMI. Let me go ahead and select new. Okay so when you install any Linux operating system on top of your hardware internally it will go ahead and create a big folder on top of your hardware okay Windows we call it as folder in Linux we call it as directory okay for few days I'll use the terminology folder for few hours and after that I'll use terminology directory Okay, files and directories. Just remember it. Okay, folder. Windows we used to call it as folder. In Linux we call it as directory. Clear? So now it will go ahead and create one big folder. This big folder is called as base directory. What is called? Base directory. And it is denoted by a slash. This base directory is denoted with a slash. Slash means base directory. Okay. Now inside this big folder, it will create some other subfolders. Okay, that's what it took. Apart from it, it will not do anything. Okay, this is the directory structure which it will create. One big folder, inside the big folder, it will create some other subfolders like home, root, bin, sbin, etc, where, and then some other, etc., etc., etc. Some other subfolders. Okay, it will create a directory structure like this. Now each and every directory will be having its own significance. Each and every folder have its own purpose. Okay, this is the very important and basic thing to understand. Okay, basic thing, because if you want to work with Linux, you should have a good clarity on this, on the folder structure. Okay, and now, okay, one big folder, inside the big folder, some other subfolders. Now, when you create any user account in Linux, if you create any user account, how to create user account, we'll see in the coming days. But when you create any user account in Linux, okay, for that user, now, before that, let me put this point to you. Now, this is my desktop, right? From my desktop, I just logged in via putty, right? I just logged in. So if you log into this machine, where exactly you will be logging in? Into this folder, this folder, this folder, this folder, this folder, this which folder? Okay. If a flight want to land, it requires a runway. If helicopter wants to land, it requires helipad. Some place is required, right? So into these folders, if you log in, into which folder that you will be logging in? That's what the first thing to understand. Okay. So every user will be having a home directory. Every user will be having a home directory. Where so that he can directly log into his home directory. Okay. So if you create one user account, one home directory will get created under this home with the username. Suppose I have created one user account with the name Ravi. With the name Ravi, one home directory, one folder will get created for him. Now if I create one more user account with the name, what is the name? Venki. Okay. For Venki, one user account will get created under this home directory. Okay. Now, if Ravi wants to log into this machine, okay, if he's under different networks, he will use the public IP to log in via the putty. So directly he will be logging into his home directory. Okay. Now, whatever he wants, he can do it under his home directory. If he want to create files, he want to create directories, he can go ahead and do the work under his home directory only. He cannot touch other users' home directory, and he cannot do anything in other folders as well. He can do only thing in his home directory. Okay. Now, if Venki logged in via putty, if you give Venki has a user account. Venki will be directly logging into his home directory and will do his work. You cannot touch other users' home directory. I log into this machine using which user account? I logged into the server, this server, by using which user account? What is the username that A username username? EC2 hyphen user. The username is what? E hyphen user means there is an user account. There is a home directory and this home with the name with the name EC2 hyphen user. If the login అయితే directly I will be logging into this. I will be landing into my home directory. Okay. Now, if somebody asks, what is the path to your home directory? If somebody asks, what is the path to your home directory? What do you need to say? In Linux, always remember the path should start from the base directory. Okay. Now, somebody asks, what is the home directory for Ravi? You should say first slash from slash and the base directory. How you reach from slash to home
home.
and within home Ravi. This is what the path to the home directory of Ravi. Okay, I'll just write it here. Slash home slash Ravi. First slash indicates the base directory. Under slash, there is a directory called home. ఈ folder పేరు home. ఈ folder లోపల ఇంకొక folder name Ravi. Now, if somebody asks, what is the home directory of user Venki? ఏం చెప్తావు path? How to reach your home directory?
/home/Venki.
Slash Venki. Right? If somebody asks, what is the home directory for EC-user? Slash home slash EC-user. Clear? Now let's verify. నేను లాగిన్ అయితే డైరెక్ట్ గా ఈ పాత్ లో ఉంటానని నేను చెప్తున్నా. ఓకే, నేను చెప్పింది రైటా కదా టెస్ట్ చేద్దాం. ఓకే, let's connect again. Just paste public IP address. Expand SSH, expand auth, click on credentials, browse, key, open. Network slow. I think the network is a little slow. If you have internet, then only you can log in. Otherwise, you cannot log in. Because we are connecting through internet. The server is on AWS cloud. Okay. Login as. Okay, the network is a little slow here. So I'll just increase the font size as well. I will give EC2 hyphen user. Slow. Done. Okay. Now I want to see where I am. This is my Linux machine. Okay, let me clear the screen. Slow. ఓకే, నేను చెప్పాను కదా పెద్ద లైనక్స్ మిషన్లో ఉన్నాను. ఇప్పుడు నేను ఎక్కడ ఉన్నా, వేర్ ఐ యామ్. ఇఫ్ యూ వాంట్ టు గెట్ యువర్ if you want to know in which directory you are, okay, into this entire place, if you want to know into which directory you are, I have just logged in. Okay, the command is pwd. The command is what? Pwd stands for present working directory. Okay, pwd stands for present working directory. Okay, now if I enter and just see the output, what I have got, where I am, slash
Sir, we lost your screen.
screen lock అయిపోయిందా?
Yes.
బా, ఇప్పుడే అయిందా జస్ట్?
Yeah, I can see now.
Okay, right. So now see, I entered pwd. I logged in as EC2 user. I entered pwd. Now what I have got? Slash home slash EC2 user. Exact గా సరిపోయిందా? స్లాష్ home slash EC2 user. That is how you will be reaching, right? First slash base directory, from base to home lopala EC2 user. Okay, so all the users home directories will be under which directory? Home directory. Okay, if you start creating user accounts, all the user accounts will get created under this home directory. Okay, it is not normal home. What is it? Is how to reach home slash home. Okay, now I'll write that point. So slash home contains what? All the users home directory. So every system having an admin account, yes or no? Every system will be having an admin account. Okay, suppose if this user left the company, I want to remove his user account. Normal user cannot delete other user accounts, right? So we require admin privileges, admin user account. Okay, in Windows we call it as administrator. We call him as administrator. In Linux we call him as root user. Okay, Windows law we call it as administrator. In Linux we call him as root. Okay, now if the administrator wants to log in, even if it's a landing place, right? Directly he cannot log in into your account, he cannot log into Ravi's account, he cannot log into EC2 user account. Even he also required one landing place. So this slash root, this is the home directory of root user, because only one root user would be there per machine, a separate folder for him. If root logged into this machine, directly he would be logging into slash, first slash, and then root. So slash root contains what? Root users home directory. Okay, bin and sbin we will see after few minutes. And slash etc. Okay, this directory contains all the configuration files. If you create user account, user configurations will be available under this slash etc. If you install any package, the package related configuration will be available under the slash etc. If you install a web server, if you install a database server, if you install an application server, all the configuration files will be available under this slash etc, not etc, slash etc. Okay, let me write those points as well. Slash home contains all the users home directory. Slash root, it is the home directory for root user. Okay, next slash etc, it contains all the configuration files. Okay, it is very important because we are going to work with configuration management, right? This directory is very, very, very important for us. /etc. Now we are having /var. Under /var, we'll be having one more subdirectory with the name log. The directory with the name log. This contains logs, system logs, application logs, user logs, any logs. Okay. Now whatever you are doing, that has to be logged somewhere. Okay. So if you are suppose you install a web server is not running properly. If you want to verify the logs will be available under this /var/log directory. Okay. Apart from that, so many other files would be there, but important thing is this log directory. Okay. /var/log. It contains all the log files. Okay. Suppose in future, if you install a web server is not running, then immediately you have to go to this directory and you can see the logs. Okay. Right. And apart from that, so many other directories also there. Okay. Each directory will be having its own purpose. Okay. Now, let's see what are all the directories that are available under this base directory. Okay. Now where we are under here EC2-user ఇక్కడ ఉన్నాం EC2-user లో ఉన్నాం అవునా. So now I want to shift to the base directory. I want to go here and I want to see what are all the subdirectories it contains. Okay. If you want to move from one directory to another directory, the command is cd. cd means change directory. cd space. Okay, where do you want to go? We need to give the path, right? I want to go to base directory. So base directory is denoted with what symbol? Slash. So I'll give cd space slash and press enter. Now I want to see I really moved to the base directory or not. How we can identify? pwd already will learn this command, right? It will give the output. What it will give the output? It will show into which directory that you are. Enter. Previously I am under /home/user. Now I am under base directory. I am over here, base directory. Okay. Now I want to see all the subdirectories which are there under the base directory. Okay. How we can see from the command line in Windows? Okay. So under this folder, if you want to see what are the things are there, just double click. You can see what are the things that are there. But in Linux, that too from command line, you cannot do double click, right? Here the command is ls. ls stands for listing. Okay. So if you want to see the contents of any directory, you should enter a command called ls. Press enter. Now you can see home. There are not. Okay, right. Color I'll just make it as. Now you can see home. The root is there. Yes. Where is there? etc. There. Bin. Yes. Has been. Yes. Like this. So many other subdirectories also there. So these are all the content of the home directory, not home directory, base directory. Okay. So three commands that we have learned today. What is it? First thing is pwd, which shows your present working directory. Okay. If you want to move from one directory to another directory, we'll use cd as the command. Okay. If you want to see the contents of any directory, ls is the command. Right. Now, where I am entering the command, this is called as the shell. I am interacting with shell, it is giving me output. Right. I am interacting with this black screen, right? This is dollar symbol. I am interacting with this, right? I am entering the command on the blank screen. This is called as shell. Okay. I am giving a command. Okay, and press enter. it is doing some process and giving me output, right? Now, let me write that. Okay, I'll just let it be there like that. I'll take a new one. Internet is very slow. Let's go with MS Paint then. Inbuilt one. Paint. Okay. Now this is shell which I'm using. Okay. Font size adjust avanni. Okay. This let me. This is what shell. Uh, this is shell. Okay. Now from shell I'm passing commands, right? Okay. These commands actually will go to kernel. It will pass the request to something called as kernel. Kernel is called as the heart of the operating system. Okay. Now kernel will understand, hey, what do you want to do? Okay, and then it will pass the request to hardware. Okay, on top of hardware, it will do the work for us. Directly, if you want to interact with hardware, you cannot interact directly because it understands only machine language. Okay, then how we want to then how you can interact with the machine? There is something called as kernel. Okay, how will be interacting with kernel? From shell. From shell, you will be passing a request, and the request will be going to kernel, and the kernel will communicate, and it will do the task on top of hardware. Okay, this is nothing but the architecture of Linux, as simple as it is. Okay, now if I enter a command ls, this command is going to kernel. Kernel is called as heart of the operating system. Now kernel will be going to the base directory on the hardware. On top of hardware, you are having base directory. Right? Base directory, it is taking the, it is listing all the subdirectories folder. It is just displaying output to the shell itself. Anna? So if I enter a command like this, which is having no meaning, okay, if you press enter, then what it said? Command not found. It is not saying it is a what command is not giving any error. Simply it is saying command not found. Right? Now, which command is the right command? Which command is the wrong command? How this machine is understanding that? Okay. So we are passing the request. Where is that? Via shell. Right? Shell we are passing a command. Yes or no? Imagine this is me. Okay. Now I am passing the request to shell. I am passing a command to shell. Now my shell will identify whether it is a valid command or not. If it is valid command, then only it will pass the request to kernel. Otherwise, my shell itself will stop sending it and simply it is saying command not found. It is not saying wrong command, it's saying command not found. Okay, so for even my shell also, it should know what are all the valid commands, what are all the not valid commands. Right? అర్థమవుతుందా నేను చూస్తున్నాను ఇది ఇలా sir, first thing, my shell should know what are all the valid commands. Then only it can say, if it finds the command, it will go and execute. If it doesn't find the command, it will simply say command not found. Now, how does my shell knows whether it is a valid command or not? Okay, if you pass a list of valid commands to shell, now shell will identify whether it is a valid command or not. Okay, so all the list of valid commands will be available under this slash bin directory. All the list of valid commands will be available under this slash bin directory. Now from shell, if you enter any command, first my shell will come to the slash bin directory. It will verify if, okay, whether the command is there or not. If the command is there, it will go ahead and execute the command. Otherwise, it will simply say command not found. Okay, how the normal user is having a set of commands, root also will be having a different set of commands. Creating user account, installing packages, deleting home directories. Okay, so all the list of valid commands of root user will be available under this slash sbin directory. Okay, if you want to see what are all the list of valid commands, already we know the command cd, right? So cd space. Now I want to go to bin directory. How we can go? Cd space slash bin. Now I'll say cd space slash bin. Enter. Now enter pwd. Verify whether we are on to bin or not. Yes, we are into slash bin. Now I want to see all the list of valid commands. What is the command? ls. I want to see the contents of the bin directory. See, till now what are the commands that we have learned? cd. Let's go to c and verify cd is there or not. Or else pwd, somewhere will be having pwd as well. cd in the command cd here. Okay, so that's what it has executed. If I enter dc, it should say command not found. Search for dc is there. If it is there, it will execute the command. Otherwise, it will say command not found. Okay, we enter pwd, right? So let's verify whether pwd is there or not. Yes, look at here, pwd. It is executing that. You enter ls. Somewhere you will find ls as well. Somewhere see ls. There are none. So all the list of valid commands will be available under this slash bin directory. That too user related. Okay, but root related commands will be available under slash sbin directory. All the user related commands will be available under this directory. Okay, slash sbin. What does it contain? All the root related commands and admin commands. Root related commands will be available under this directory. Okay. So the slash home contains all the user related home directories. Slash root is the home directory for root user. Slash bin contains all the user related commands. Slash sbin contains all the root related commands. Slash etc contains all the configuration files. Slash var slash log contains all the log files. Okay, like this you will be having so many other directories, and each directory will be having its own significance. And the request we are passing is shell. Shell will verify whether it is a valid command or not. If it finds the command, it will pass the request to kernel, and then kernel will work with hardware and it will give the output to the user, to the shell. Right? Clear, sir? So clear, everyone? Yes? And once you're done, just don't forget to go back to your EC2 instance, select the EC2 instance, and click on terminate the instance. I'm terminating it. Tomorrow I'll create a new one, and then we'll perform some other things. Okay, as of now, once you're done with your practice, just terminate the instance. Right? Sir, clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, right?
Yes, sir.
Shall
Yes,
we
sir.
stop in
Yes.
the recording?